Look at that bird in that rice field.
I was craning my neck at it. Oh, I want to die. So I don't know where we're going. I don't know how interesting the roads are going to get, but let's talk about something. Oh, we have a Challenger. I want to talk about 10 things I love about my CBR. I guess we'll start with the most basic stuff, the most obvious stuff. Thing is a beast. It's got 175 horsepower and it's got twice the torque as my last bike. Yeah, but of course, like the power, it's obvious. Like this bike is crazy, and it's actually not. Now this is not me justifying the bike having less power than other bikes in the class. Because if somebody said, do you want more power? I would say, why not? So the bike has 175 horses. I think the other bikes, I think the Kawasaki of the same year, 2011 Kawasaki ZX-10R has closer to 200 than this. But, you know, 175 is nothing to cough at. It's more than enough bike for me. And also the mid-range is really good on this bike compared to the ZX-10R, so it's really peppy. That's like a really an understatement there. One pro that somebody could argue for this bike, which, like I said, this is not me trying to justify having lower power is better, but this bike does not have traction control, so having 175 is almost ideal, because once you get closer to 200, you're just worried about breaking your the rear end loose. But on this bike with the 175, it's a little bit more manageable. Second thing I really love about this bike is let's just say that I can't park the bike without turning back to look at it after I leave. It is a gorgeous bike. I didn't like this bike when it came out. I thought the nose was flat and ugly, and I still kind of do. But I feel like and it was kind of a slab-sided bike, which I didn't like at first. But I feel like with the Repsol graphics on this bike, it kind of breaks up the bodywork a little bit better and makes it look really attractive to me. Number 3 thing I love about this bike, and I don't know, people have been saying, I watched a few first rides, and a lot of people mentioned that this seat sucks, but I like this seat better than the seat on my 07 600RR. It's not so bad. I mean, after like 120 kilometers, I start getting a little shifty in my seat and want to stand up or, you know, move around. But, you know, it could be worse, and it was worse. The worst seat I've ever had was my 2006 CBR1000RR, and that thing had just a plank for a seat. So this would be number 4. My wife would get on my 600, and the bike would just squat so much, and it was a pain in the ass to drive, and it just felt really uncomfortable and strange. Wow, look at all of these rice fields. That is really pretty. What's that? That's fine. Let's just follow it. It's pretty. That fresh cut grass smells good. Fresh cut grass and 2-stroke exhaust is one of the best smells. Before, my wife would get on the bike and it would just squat, and I would feel like, I don't know, it just felt terrible. I had no confidence in the corners or anything. But now on this bike, it still squats a little bit, but it's not so bad. And I don't. Maybe it's because I've got the extra power now. The suspension is a little firmer than my last one, but I can barely tell when my wife is on the back of this bike. Number 5 thing that I love. Maybe 10 was a little ambitious. What else do I love about this bike? Okay, this is going to be getting into some minutia, but I love the shape of the tank. It's a really good way to grip. You can grip it really well with your legs, and it's got the built-in tank pads right here. Can you see them? So that's nice, because that part of the bike gets scratched up anyways, so it's nice to just have a tank pad that's built there right from the factory. And then I don't know what it is, but the shape of this tank, it feels so comfortable in a tuck position. Okay, number 6. Oh, yeah. The slipper clutch. See, I never had, this is my first bike with a slipper clutch. And I never thought it was something you would need, and it's not something you need, but it's something I enjoy having. So with my 600, I'd be coming up to a stoplight and I'd bang down a couple gears and I would feel my tire lock up. But this bike, like I just shifted down really quickly, nothing. Like, here, let's try it out actually. You can just let out the clutch, no problem, and the clutch takes up all of that extra, the clutch I think freewheels so that your back wheel doesn't spin. Here, I'll do it again. Like you don't even have to have your hand on the clutch. The thing I love about this bike is it's smooth. My 600 was kind of peaky, and under 5,500 RPM it was a little gutless and kind of shaky. And this bike, and I think it could be better because this bike has the Yoshimura exhaust and it doesn't have a power commander, so I feel like the low end is a little bit, it's missing a little bit. And if you can tell when I'm idling, the bike kind of goes like brum, 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 brum. Like it sounds like I've got a big old cam in this bike, but I think if I got a power commander, it would smooth everything out. But this bike, anything above 2,000 RPM is just smooth. Well, what is smooth? Smooth as I was gonna say a witch's tit, but when I think of it, I think a witch's tit would be kind of wrinkly. Figure it out. Like I said, I am not good at ad-libbing. We're gonna pass this Moco. Come on, Jay. Where are you at? Oh man, we lost him. Yeah, so it's really smooth. Its transmission shifts really nicely. Number 8, even though it doesn't turn in as well as my 600 did, I feel like when I do turn in, it's so planted. I feel like I've never felt like I've lost grip in dry conditions. It's felt fantastic. It feels really planted, really stable. I have a ton of confidence on this bike. I felt a little, so honestly, I had the Metzlers on my last bike. They got the elephants on the side with the lean angle. Now I'm back behind this car again. Why didn't you pass? Oh yeah, I was talking about my Metzlers, right? So you got the elephant to show the lean angle, and I was getting down pretty good on those other tires, and I felt like I was getting down a lot more, but I was getting scared. Not that I was losing grip on my 600, but I didn't feel confident on it. And when I would look at the elephant, like I wasn't even touching the top of his head. And on this bike, I feel like I've been riding conservatively, like that's how it feels. But when I look at my tires, I got half of my elephant head scraped off already. So if that, I'm not going to tell you about racing geometry and that this, I don't know anything about that. I couldn't tell you the difference between a set of Olin shocks and a pair of stock shocks. But this bike, I've got a lot more confidence on this bike than I did on my 600. Number 9 thing I love about my CBR is God, what is it? ABS. The ABS works really well on this bike. I have gone out on purpose to test the ABS. I went on like kind of a quiet, damp, mossy road, and I intentionally jammed down on my rear brake, and it didn't do anything. It didn't stop very quickly because the tire it would only let me brake as much as the rear tire had traction. It didn't stop quickly, but I did not end up on my ass. So I have confidence. I have a lot of confidence in this in the ABS.